boat out since February because of the medication. I spent the whole summer laying in a stinking hot bus under the influence of this medication, unable to sleep, unable to get up and do anything. Now, why should I have to deal with that when I've been telling the truth the whole time, and all I've got is a couple of idiots' opinion? I mean, I had to walk past yesterday and didn't even recognise me. He stopped halfway down the hallway and goes, "Oh, sir, how are you?" I said, "Yeah, fine, thanks, mate." He doesn't even know me, mate, yet he's making these decisions about my life, injecting me with a dangerous chemical, but I do not have a chemical imbalance in my brain. I'm perfectly fine apart from the anger and the trauma and torment, which I have to deal with anyway. The lawyer summed it up in one statement was, you don't need a psychiatrist, you need a psychologist. And until you wake up to that, you're just destroying my life further and further and sending it down the toilet. That's correct.
Okay. Did you just speak to him on the phone?
Yesterday.
Okay, yeah. So, do you know if they've received that information? Because I certainly got the request, which I have to sign off to release the
Yesterday he told me he has received my medical files and he's going through them.
No, that's fine.
And he's referred my case to another lawyer to initiate a lawsuit against the mental health system.
Okay.
So what's going to happen with the second opinion? When can I expect that? Is it going to be before the medication?
The Dr. Van der Veen is back on the 31st of July, which is 2 weeks from Monday.
So basically there's nothing. Why would Trina call me up and say, you have to reschedule your appointment? I says, well, I'm on the phone now, why not reschedule it now? And she says, no, you have to come in and reschedule it. So why would she do that?
What appointment with the doctor?
Yeah, on Wednesday morning she called me up to cancel the doctor appointment. Yeah. And she said, yeah, to reschedule it, you have to come in and reschedule it. I said, what about now? I'm on the phone now. Once again, I pulled over on 110 zone on the side of the road with trucks flying past because Trina rings up with a blocked number. I can't call back a blocked number. So I don't know who it is. So I can't ignore the phone, keep driving until I get to a safer destination and then answer the phone or call the person back.
You were asked to come in and make an appointment?
That's right.
Okay.
Reschedule the appointment. I come in here to reschedule the appointment. I get told that they can't reschedule it because the doctor creates her own appointments. So therefore that's another trip in today to talk to you about another complaint.
Yeah.
You see how this is just getting ridiculous? It's eating into my time, eating my life away, mate.
The point about you not being, so you wasn't able to reschedule because the doctor makes their own?
Apparently the doctor makes her own appointments, and that's why I couldn't reschedule it.
I can follow that up. I've still got your email address. Would you allow me to follow these two bits up and I'll get back to them?
Yes, definitely.
Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to address the aspect of the doctor making their own appointment until they come back. But I think it is, you've identified something that, again, is an issue that, again, you can't get an appointment until she gets back. So that's...
What really shits me is I have asked for a second opinion. I don't get it. But yet, when the doctor asked, when I refused medication, they were ready to write out transport papers to send me to Greylands to get a second opinion. So why would they go to that expense for a second opinion, yet they can't make half an hour here for me to see another doctor?
It's just that, look, the appointment was booked in, and look, I do apologise. Again, the doctor's gone off.
It's just not good enough, mate.
It's not good enough.
And you know what?
I appreciate your inconvenience.
I can recognise, like Dr. Aina, I can see how he could be easily manipulated by these three. Like there's 3 staff members that are manipulating the dude. He's actually new to the country, new to the culture, new to the language, and they're using him. So Higgins walking in, pushing him around the way he's done, and convinced him to sign a community treatment order. On his own, I don't think he would have done it. Because that first conversation I had where he says, oh, I'm impressed by you, with what you've had to say, I'm impressed. He wasn't going to medicate me that day. He didn't sign up a community treatment order that day. It wasn't until 2 weeks later, with Tony Higgins yabbering on into his ear, that Iana signed me up within 5 minutes on a community treatment order. The first appointment was over an hour. The second appointment lasted 7 minutes and was on a community treatment order. You see why I think it's suspicious?
Look, I'm not going to comment, but having said that, you are pursuing this with the mental health law court, so... Yeah,
I have to, because I've tried to be reasonable and rational and fair. Pardon?
You've got every right to do that.
I do, but the thing is, my rights are breached consistently by the mental health system, and yet no one's ever held accountable. That lady that works over there for the psychiatrist at the hospital, what's her name, Angie?
Oh, yeah, Angie.
Yeah, so she told my ex-girlfriend that I'd been committed. My ex-girlfriend told another person, Laura, that I'd been committed. Laura comes up to me and says, "Oh, Jeff, you've been committed. What happened? Jill told me you've been committed." So where do you think that information came from? Laura knows Jill. Jill knows Angie. And I haven't seen any three of them apart from that moment I walked up to Laura. Angie works over there, right?
No, not Angie,
Yep. She was neighbours with Gillian Lane, who was my ex-girlfriend.
What's her name?
Gillian Lane.
L-A-N-E, is it?
Yeah, but with a G. Starts with a G.
Oh, Jill's right.
Yeah, Gillian.
Lane.
Lane, I-N-E, yeah.
And so, you believe that Angie informed Gillian?
Yes, and Gillian passed on the information to Laura, because that's the only way that Laura would be able to find out is through Gillian, and the only way that Angie would be able to pass that information is through Gillian. There's no proof.
Laura that was your ex-girlfriend or Gillian?
Pardon? Gillian was my ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Laura was another neighbour. So Angie and Jill were neighbours for a couple of years. Jill moved away to another place. Laura was the next neighbour. I went to Laura's house to mow some lawn. She says, "Gillian told me you've been committed. What's going on?" So the only place that information could have come from is Gillian knows Angie.
But would Gillian know other people that might have known that?
No, Gillian is... The only people that know about the mental health system with me is my family.
Yeah.
I don't tell my friends. I don't discuss it.
Do they not have contact with Gillian? They wouldn't have...
No, they don't.
Okay.
No. The breakup with Gillian was... She was cheating on me. I was getting upset. I called counselling for here. I get told by the mental health system, "Oh no, she wouldn't do that." My family saying, "Oh no, she wouldn't do that." But now she's still shacked up with the bloke she was cheating on me with. So while I'm getting told by the mental health system, "Oh no, that didn't happen, it's all in your head, you're picking on her for nothing," and it turns out she was. And then I get treated with medication.
When did this happen then, Jeffrey?
In
Disclosure for argument.
February last year, Gillian went to a training course in Perth.
So this is when the information was passed on, you reckon, was February last year?
No, the information was passed on about August, when I'd been... No, September 16th it would have been, when I was medicated.
And that was last year, 2011?
Yes. That was Angie from the hospital. I had drips in my arm, ready to go on a Royal Flying Doctor service for a second opinion in Greylands.
Yeah.
Okay, and Angie tells Jill. Jill tells me around... Laura tells me around...
Jill went down at that stage as your next to kin or anything, was she? Or?
No, she wasn't.
No, because sometimes you know how if you put down an next to kin...
Well, there was a time a year before that where Gillian got me from the hospital that they held me there, and in a way, it's still a breach, you know. I mean, Gillian doesn't have any rights in my personal life apart from when we were actually together. So.
Well, I can follow these things up, and look, I do apologise about the appointment being cancelled, and I'll follow up with being able to reschedule another appointment. And I'm sorry about that, but it was unfortunate.
Yeah, well, it's more than unfortunate because it means I'm going to get medicated again with a dangerous drug when there's no good reason to medicate me. There's no good reason. There's no evidence to suggest...
You can get a second opinion, the CTO will still remain, but I realise it impacts on you. I'm not taking that away from you, Jeffrey, either. And I can understand why you probably, miffed with what's been happening.
Yeah, well, imagine, could you go through this for 15 years and hold your temper? You know, you got Tony Higgins that antagonises patients because if he gets a reaction, then he can medicate them. You've got no idea. Those people rely on medicating other people. There's no other help. I came in here for counselling. I get medicated. I get kicked out the door until they want to medicate me again. Apart from that, they don't have nothing to do with me. No counselling from even a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
Are you aware where there is counselling facilities as well through the GPs?
Well, I took on counselling when I first got to Geraldton. Okay, now I wanted anger management. Okay, and that's what I expressed it as. Okay, so I went over to the next door where Petra, I don't know if you know her.
Sure, from drug and alcohol.
Yep, and she said, "Well, we're drug and alcohol counsellors. We'll talk to you for a couple of weeks, but because you're not using drugs, we can't really talk to you." Yeah. Fine, okay. I come here March last year asking for help to deal with the shit I have to deal with, a counselling session, and next thing I've got Tony Higgins breathing down my neck, calling me 3 times a week, saying, "Come in, I want to talk to you." And when I come in to talk to him, he antagonises me to try and get a reaction, so therefore he can say, "Therefore you're mentally ill, you've got to take medication." You see what I'm saying?
I
He
know what you're saying.
antagonises patients. Do you know that patient Tobal down at Greenough Caravan Park? And he beat the crap out of those 3 old blokes?
Yeah.
That was Higgins, right? Antagonising another patient. This is going on the internet.
I don't know about that, Jeffrey. Anyway.
No worries.
Well,
But I just thought I'd
I'll
let you...
chase this up. I'm just glad as well that you've got that information with the mental health law that you requested. I'm glad that that's gone through. Listen, I did have to speak to you one thing. The staff don't appreciate being video recorded, and they've got a right not to. And I'm not trying to...
What's on that sign behind you?
Yeah, no, but that's for surveillance. It isn't recorded. No, what I'm trying
Same
to
thing, mate.
But staff have got a
Same
right
thing,
to
it's
know
digital. You tell me it's not recorded, but I guarantee it is.
No, it isn't recorded.
It's digital.
It's
It's digital. It's
recorded.
zeros and ones, mate.
The hospital ones in the corridors, they maintain a tape. But the ones here, there's no
It's
recording.
not tape anymore, mate. It's zeros and
Well,
ones.
yeah, you appreciate that. It's digital. But what I'm trying to say is, the ones that they have outside the hospital, in the corridors and stuff, they maintain...
Mate,
a
I've
right
been
to
on my own fighting the mental health system for a long time, and the only evidence I have, the only backup I've got, for instance, that bloke in Greylands when he said to me, "You're right, Jeff, you're right in what you say, but we're not going back on what we've done." Who do you believe between me and him?
I don't know the other blokes, so it's difficult to say.
He's a doctor.
Yeah.
He's a head doctor in Greylands. Who do you believe? Who do you think he thinks people will believe? Do you think they'll believe me? When it comes to my word against his about this statement, who's going to believe what?
Well, I think that the issue will come to the head, as you say, because you've got your information that's gone to the Mental Health Law Council, and that's independent legal representation. So,
Well, this is gathering evidence to be used against the mental health
just
system.
need to let you know that there is an act that says that people that they need their consent.
Well,
You
they
can
don't.
keep that.
They don't.
You can keep that if you want.
Yeah, I'll read that. Yeah. But yeah, I actually have no consideration for the staff. They've abused me for so long. I don't care if they're upset by being videotaped. And I'm going to keep doing it because it's the only protection I've got against the lies, the deceit, and the antagonism to create the belief. Yeah. Yeah.
Listen,
Alright.
I'll follow up those other bits for you. Okay, I'll try and get it done today. The reason I'm saying that is because I'm going on leave for a month, and I'd like you to get a response to this.
Righto.
The other bit about making appointments, I'll need to chase that up when I get back from leave, because obviously the doctor that you were supposed to have seen isn't here at the moment either. But
How do you survive with 2 doctors and how many patients? 350, 400 patients?
more than that for the whole region.
And we're supposed to get 1 hour a month as treatment, and you can't even do that.
No, I agree.
And yet I'm being injected with a dangerous drug.
We're
So you
under
I understand completely. I don't blame Dr. Aina at all. I actually blame his nursing staff more than Dr. Aina. But he needs to be a man as well and take responsibility for the decisions he's made and be the man and tell his staff that he's making the decisions, not let a wimp like Tony Higgins push him around. Tony Higgins is a little slime bucket and he deserves to go to jail, that bloke, for what he's done to me. If he really did get paid to sign this up, that's a criminal act.
Well, I think Tony tries to do the best, and maybe that doesn't always come across how people perceive that.
Yeah, well, I know that little man right through, and he's a pretender.
Okay, well maybe leave it at that then, Jamie.
Yeah.
But look, again, can I say thanks for taking the time to come in.
Yeah, look,
I'll chase this up. You know the last time I got back to you, so I will chase this up.
Well, I appreciate you giving me your time today, especially. Look, and you know what? I get way more angry here than I am anywhere else in the world. You know, I have some good friends, not many, but a few good friends, and I get along well with people on the most cases, right? But this situation here is making my blood boil, and every time I step through that door, I just get sweaty palms. I get angry, and I know I'm being abused by this system. You know, and that's why I get so angry. And I don't feel like I'm being heard, but hopefully you might be able to do something that will get this back on the right track.
This up, as I said, I'm glad that information got to mental health, because I've seen it comes to me, and I made sure that went out quickly so that obviously your representatives could avail themselves of the information that you requested.
All right.
Listen, cheers, have a good weekend, okay?
Yeah, okay. Well, thanks for hearing me out,
That's
because
okay, Jeffrey.
yeah, it's frustrating, and I don't want to be
No,
an
I
asshole,
appreciate it.
but sometimes you've got to be the fight for your right, right?
All right. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thank you.
You have a good weekend.
Yeah, same with you, eh?
Thank you.